Hello, Dolly.
Hello, my love. How are you? That was very English of you.
Gotta throw it out there sometimes.
Yes.
That is in my bloodline.
Yeah, I felt like you just come and join me for some English tea. You just needed some scones going on. Hello,
Totally.
darling.
Uh, you know, I don't think I have a solid word for where I'm at. It's like this space where it's the calm that I don't expect. Like it's just like a calm state, and so I'm like, this is because I don't have energy. Is it because, and I haven't been able to wrap my head around it other than like it feels good to be calm when usually
Hmm.
I'd be like, put a fucking ball to the walls.
Right, right. No, I actually really resonate with that. I'm really glad you said that because last week, I think it was, whenever the fuck it was, the last time we were speaking, we were speaking about how unfamiliar it is to like feel these emotions and how his body's kind of like rejecting it a little bit and being like looking for the chaos in the calm. And
Yeah.
actually, ironically, I feel like that shifted pretty quick. Like you've said, like I feel very, I'm like, I'm okay over here, chilling out over here, my little energetic sun lounger. Like physically, I don't stop, I don't sit down all day because obviously the two babies, but energetically, instead of feeling like so tired and drained at the end of the day, not just physically, like emotionally, and then tired when I'm waking up and like overwhelmed and dysregulated. Like I'm not feeling like that. I mean, I still have moments, but it feels more balanced and more calm, like you say, and almost a welcoming of that energy. Like finally, my nervous system's like, yeah, okay, we can roll with this. This is no longer a threat, and I feel like that has been a huge thing to integrate. And I'm sure we're still going to be working through it. It's not just like boom, there it's done. But to
Right.
even welcome this frequency with ease, like you said, I think is a big thing,
I
especially
would
for me. I know.
I would agree. I feel like I went through all the phases of resistance into like, what is this? Into like, yeah, that doesn't work for me, into like this state. And I did a journey this last weekend,
Yeah,
medicine
nice,
journey. And
nice.
the incorporation of because I did one prior to that for like the feminine, and then this one was a total incorporation of the masculine and
Right, right.
everything.
And we've been
Whole new
doing that this
set.
week. We did this in the Tuesday night group activity. That was what we was doing is integrating the masculine aspect. So that's really funny that that
Yeah,
also came up for you. I love how aligned we are. See, I just love that.
generally on point.
So funny. I love that we didn't even mention that before. Even that's so funny.
Yeah, no, this pops up real time, so that's how we know we're
Right.
doing it.
Yeah, man. So in tune.
It was absolutely stunning. I'm very grateful that I had the entire mountainside to myself, and
Wow.
just it was like I have several different aspects of my masculine, and a few of them it's taken me a while to work with, but especially one piece was very deep medicine man, shamanic, stars, very much so in Australia, very, very beautiful with his medicine sound and his music. And I had told him a while back that I do not want him around me until he checks that ego, until that all of that, like, I'm like, I will beat you on the other side of this lifetime. Okay? So, like,
Head down over there.
so I'm just saying, I see you very clearly. I know what you're about, and there's these facets that do not co-align with me. I know you've been down here for a good long time, and I could see him walking in through vessel and vessel and like doing these processes. And um, he came out of behind the trees, and I sat with it for a second, and he looked at me and he said, "Look, I am very open and present in the space. I've walked myself out of these spaces. I have sat with the feminine and just watched." And he said, "Will you accept me back into the space? I'd really like to be a part of this now." And it took my body a second, and she was like,
Let me check
"Really?"
you out over there.
Excuse me, Let me just think about if I want you back, okay?
Mhm.
See, like my feminine going, huh, all right. Um,
I told you
but
so.
it was so funny. It was so funny. Once that came back into balance, I had worked with the fire, and
Nice.
he entered into my body and I started working that process. What came from that was really an exquisite balance.
Nice. That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
So beautiful.
I'm really excited about it.
I love that. Yeah. It's like more of a wholeness. I feel like I've not yet. had the physical integrational process yet, but
Right.
I definitely feel even the encounter the other day on Tuesday, it was brought up because we did so much work in the Tuesday group with meeting our feminine
Oh
and
yeah.
connecting with the aspects and the layers and the layers and the layers and the layers. And then
Yep.
the other day, it just randomly came up, the masculine, and we introduced our masculine aspect and we like got to know them initially. But I think for me, I don't think I've really ever consciously connected to this aspect before. Like you say, I think maybe in the Akash, I've had this similar conversations of that's not aligned, it's not going to work
Yep.
until it's in alignment. And then now feels more of a time of alignment for that energy to be introduced. But like you, I feel a little bit standoffish and I feel a little bit like on guard. And I think that's really normal. Like, I think
Oh,
that's a really
oh,
normal response. And,
I would
you know,
definitely say that.
mhm,
I would so say that. I'd say even the masculine that I incorporated into my system was very much kind of standoffish, right?
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah,
have
yeah.
this I have this be very beautiful like gamer type aspect, and he holds beautiful space. So to interact with like someone like a piece of me who's been down here for such a long time and works the star systems and the earth medicine that intensely, he was like, I'm just gonna say, like, I'm holding the space for this lovely lady, and the inner child. And so like that was also like a protective piece too that I saw for a second.
Yeah, nice.
And then the feminine flashed out and she was just like, "Oh," I did all the whole fire dance and everything like that, and just sat there and watched him, was like this. Then she was like, okay.
I love how you explain it. It's like I actually feel like I'm there watching the film, like waiting for the next chapter, like then what happened? You know, like that's so fucking cool. Like it's really cool.
It
I
was really
love it.
awesome. He really showed me all these spaces that he pulled himself out of and
Nice.
shifted the ego phase out of it, which would be like the followers or any of that stuff. That would be a hierarchy piece from
Hmm.
my perspective that I did not want to interact with. Into
Yeah.
like, I'm going to be present with you. If you don't want to integrate me right now, that's okay. But I'm going to stand by these trees. You know, I'm
Yeah.
gonna
I'm
be
just gonna sit over here, man. Like wait.
just wait. Exactly. That's funny.
No, I love that though. And I think there is some resonance to it also in like relationships and friendships, family bonds. If things are repairing in them dynamics,
Right.
not everything it can repair. Let's just throw that out there too. Like not everything. My body must be feeling defensive because I've gone into defense.
She's
I've
like,
noticed. I was like,
easy.
she's like, no, bitch, no. So yeah, I'll drop that. But yeah, I think yeah, whether it's family, friendships, relationships, you know, brothers, men, women, men, women, men, all different dynamics, whatever it is,
Right, right.
gaining trust again. So obviously your example, Z, was an aspect of self, which is beautiful. I actually really loved hearing that experience. So really thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And I think there'll be some people that are maybe experiencing it with their partners and, you know, or like we said, all these extras. And the like we said, it's like that standoff energy, like, oh shit, can I get used to this? Can I trust this? Is this safe? Is this
Right.
right? Is this, you know, is this unfamiliarity that creates the front lobe, whatever it's called, the amygdala, that's then sending all the signs of fear and panic and danger
Right.
to the body and the nervous system, as we know. And so it is literally allowing yourself to assess the situation, assess the energies and the intention and everything. And when you do
Right.
feel it and you judge it safe, it's like checking yourself and saying it is safe. You're all right. You are safe. You are safe right now. I am safe. I am present. Everything's safe. This person is safe. This partner is safe. This friend's safe. This family member's safe. I am safe to be vulnerable. I'm safe to open up. I'm safe to communicate. Whatever it is, and allowing yourself to actually rewrite that program and
Totally.
recheck it in at that present moment with safety is going to allow that body. Oh, okay, maybe this is not so unfamiliar. Maybe I can get used to it. Maybe I am safe here, and it brings like that
Right.
testing the waters. And listen, it might not be perfect. You might have a couple of fuck ups along the way and a couple of, oh, I knew I shouldn't have trusted in moments, you know, and that might happen. But in that, it's again dropping our own egos and our own
Right.
shit of like, we'll always have to be right. And that again, it's protection and it's not a bad thing, but it's not always needed. And that sometimes can stop us from experiencing true surrender and joy and
Totally.
divinity in an uncontrolled manner. Because if we're always living in that fear-based mindset and safety mindset,
Totally.
defense
Yep.
mindset, we're not ever going to experience true life because we're always going to be looking for the next potential threat. And
Totally.
that's not a way to live, in my opinion. Like, I don't think it's fully.
And we lost
But
you.
I really try and be present in it. I really try and be present in that, like, reprogramming, because it's important if we're going to live that higher timeline life on Earth. We have to be able to adjust our bodies to not just reacting to the uncontrollable.
Absolutely. And
Mm.
that's everything you said is you know how I also view it, and it also takes the time that it takes to allow your body that communication point
Yeah,
with your interfacing with your soul, with the consciousness energy around you, with anything that's happening with the collective and the earth, which we're all feeling. Let's just get real,
yeah,
right? To some extent.
yeah. Oh, no.
And I would say that that safety piece has been so big in the present moment for my body,
Yeah.
and just going like once it interfaces with something, going, okay, that's the route that I would have taken, but I don't have to take that route anymore. So I'm just going to take a deep breath. That actually does not exist. I'm actually bringing it up as an imprint or a memory that is something that has happened. And so in that
Mm.
case, like I can see my nervous system shifting outside of the amygdala or the basal ganglia
Visual pattern. Yeah,
and then
yeah,
going
yeah,
into the prefrontal cortex to go, oh yeah, I can process that, and then poof, I'm calm.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I don't have to be there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does take that
Okay.
minute, and sometimes
For
obviously
sure.
all the fuck ups are I'll bring those to the table because I feel like they're necessary and we all get to do
They
those.
are. They
So,
are, because they test it. Because every time you have a fuck up and then you repair it in a healthy, new way,
right.
new dynamic, not the old. Or this could be a new partnership. Don't mean in repairing an old one. Like, whatever it looks
Right.
like. The point is,
Right.
you're repairing. When I say repairing, it's repairing the old pattern and program in the
Exactly.
brain. So whoever that's with doesn't matter. It's your own thing that's running. So that's what we're repairing. And as we're on the journey to repairing that, like, it's every time there's a slip up and then it's repaired in a nicer way, in a calmer way, in a healthy, normal way, my brain goes, oh, maybe that is safe then.
Yep.
So it's like showing me, they're like little tests. They're like little moments of, right, you say this is safe. It's like there's all going on into it. It's like, all right then. So you say this is safe. Let's start an argument to see if it's really safe. And then it's
Yep.
like, and
Yep.
it's not
Exactly.
intentional, and I'm aware of it, and sometimes I do check it, but I feel this subconscious, like, protection of myself, of, like,
Totally. Totally.
defensiveness, and then a bit of
Yep.
attitude and a bit of energy. And that is my own system checking, well, is this actually safe then?
It's
Because you're saying it is, but I
yep.
need to know if actions prove that. And then when there might be a little slip up, and then, oh yeah, that one could, I told you, she's
I thought
like,
that phone was gonna drop. I just that
it's
shoe
like,
ain't
never again,
not
walls
gonna
are
play that
open,
game. Yeah.
But
Yep.
then within minutes now, instead of weeks, months, years, it's like, all right, maybe I can shift. Where am I accountable for this?
Exactly.
And that's my
Yep.
change. Where am I accountable for creating that? Where am I accountable for contributing to that? Where am I accountable for even helping repair that and meet in the middle to create communication, middle ground, and explanation of my perspective? And, like, there is a line though, but it's like, I think that the tests are so valid. The tests are so valid to
So valid.
show whether
So
that
valid.
is true or not, whether what people are saying, whether what you're saying to yourself holds validation if it is proven into the earthly realm. As silly as it sounds, but sometimes we need that.
It's like that physical manifestation for the body that it
Mm.
wants to know. And
Yeah,
I've caught myself, and this has been less and less over time, but I would have to say at least over the last couple of months, where like I know that I'm in a test process. And I
yeah.
know my body's doing that. I'm so keenly aware of those tiny little, and it's like I'm gonna just throw that in there. See. You know, just to
Yes.
see.
Literally.
If that's safe. And now it's getting more and more into like, I don't
Question.
have to test this. Okay. Like,
Yeah, I
I
agree.
understand that I don't have, sometimes it still will. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure over
Like
the
little
lifespan, it's
moments.
a continuation of our growth, or it'll be something that pops in there. But now it's like, oh, yeah, I can actually reset back into a state of breath
Yeah,
knowing that I'm safe in it and knowing that in my own intuition and who I am, I can decipher a decision here that's right for me if in any given situation, right?
Yeah, but that's such a deeper level of trust than I think we've ever like we've known trust, we've felt it and experienced the journeys and all that. But I think we're like holding that frequency now deeper.
Very much so.
Like a
Agree.
sense of knowing of, yeah, we do trust in our own self. But it does bring it a little bit to what we were thinking about earlier as well that I mentioned before is where is that line with people? Because I have previous tendencies to be a little bit of a people pleaser and I'm conflict avoidant, even though I'm a very fiery motherfucker. I am completely conflict avoidant. I just don't like, I'll do it if I have to and really regret it. You'll regret it if we go
Yep.
there.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I don't fucking wanna, and that's probably why. Because of that, I've had a lot of, I hate the word control, but lack of better human words, control issues with that fire. And so I don't really like having to use it without my own choice, like being feeling like defensive. But, I definitely slipped into this like, well, how can I make this the least dangerous situation for me? And so I assessed the energy and match frequencies. I used to do this all the time and I didn't even know I was doing it. But over obviously time, I've been aware of certain people and environments that make me feel really anxious and that make me feel like I need to change the way I'm acting or compromise to please them or not say certain things and do certain things because it's going to upset their frequencies or whatever.
Right.
And I really found myself like molding and shaping and like being something and someone I was not and being very hyper vigilant, and hyper aware of their next move, even like breath change and like, sudden change. And again, it comes from environment, childhood, and all different things, but it was quite intense. And so I've been unpicking that and unpicking that and unpicking that.
Yep. Yep.
But I've still got this concept of I like to be someone that's there for people. I don't, maybe that's to do with my own abandonment wounds that I've had to work through. Like, I don't like being left when shit hits the fan, basically, for lack of better human words. So why would I want to leave someone when they're going through that?
Sure.
But then again, there is a line between
Yeah.
how much do you consume of someone's energy, how much do you take on, how much are you actually allowing them to stay in a lower frequency by not addressing it and by not confronting it and by not acknowledging it at all or by pleasing the situation and molding to suit it so it don't happen, and like how much are they actually then being faced to do their own work if it's not being reflected back on them,
Right.
and how do we do that in a way that's not like an abandonment and insult, and I think this dance is really difficult, of
Yep.
verbal communication of our own boundaries and our
Right.
own,
Right.
this is what's acceptable, this is what I want to take on,
Yep.
this is what I can, this is what I'm at capacity to take on,
Sure.
but also I love you and I'm there for you and I want to be here for you, but where is the line to like, because I know a lot of spiritual people that are very, don't want to use the word cold because that's definitely not the right word because they're loving and caring and all sorts of things in other ways. But in terms of like when emotions get heated and things are really intense, I know a lot of spiritual people that tend to back off a bit because it's like, oh, there's too much projection going on there for me, and there's too much, negativity, and I get it, I totally get it, I totally honour that and get that, but that don't feel like that's me. I don't feel like I shy away from the mess. I'm like, all right, let's figure out what's going on. But also, it's like, how do you do that without being disrespectful, without taking on too much, and without like walking away? I find it.
Well,
I'm
it's
struggling
quite
with
the
that.
dance. Yeah, it's quite the dance
Mm.
because I'm the same way. I'm not gonna back away from that. If I decide, and this is how I enter myself into the space, that I'm gonna walk with somebody in
Yeah.
my own. I'm gonna have my like in our own energies. I'm gonna walk
Yeah.
alongside someone,
Yeah.
and they go deeply into it. Then I'm gonna be in the space with them, and also like I don't want to disrupt their own journey process with it. I
Right.
I don't
Right.
want to enable them, which like I
Right.
have done before. Right?
Right.
I want to be in a space of like, look, I'm here right now, and it's generally for me, I get really direct about what can be supportive and what cannot be because if somebody's
Yeah,
fixed
that's
comes
good.
up, right, and they're like, okay, how do I? I'm like, no, I don't need any of that. What would be beneficial is like this is just popping up. I don't need you to do anything. You don't take the energy. I just need to say something. I just need to like
Yeah.
express it. And that gives them some idea. If I have a buddy who's in it pretty deep, I'm gonna say, hey, what in this situation would feel supportive to you? Uh,
Yeah.
and that kind of gives them an idea. And if they're in their own energy, they can be like, look, I just need a hug for a second, or let's go for a walk, or, work
Mm.
that process where I'm
That
also giving them their power.
communication. Yes, and you give it that exactly. But it is not being afraid to have that conversation. I love that you've just brought that up.
That's it.
Giving them the power.
Yep.
Mm. Very
Yeah,
true.
definitely not afraid to have that conversation. Does my sis like even this as of recently, like I've had to create some pretty intensive boundaries, and my nervous system was like, I will not stand for this anymore. I'm gonna do it in a way that works for me. But I did have the shakes for a period of time because it wasn't
Yeah, me
this
too. Me
lifetime.
too.
This is from all the places. I was like, gonna do it, and I was like,
I'm really glad it's not just me then, because I'm like, oh, I've got to do this. I'm strong. I'm powerful.
exactly. This is like gotta talk. Just gotta talk. Okay, doing it. Okay, and then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly, it is a
yeah.
whole right. I'm really glad we brought that up then, because again, every situation is going to be different. Nothing's
Oh,
going to be,
totally.
exactly the same. And let me just point it out there does have to be a line. And like, if you are someone, I'm a deep feeler. I go through the waves of
Yep.
emotion, but some of these other people I connect with, they're not as emotionally connected to their own selves. Like, that's not a bad thing. That's just who
Sure.
they are.
Exactly.
And so when someone else is feeling something so intensely and emotionally, they're not equipped to deal with that because they don't experience life that way, and
Right.
they don't experience their emotions that way and their journeys that way. They learn through different processes. And so maybe that withdrawal is not an act of abandonment and neglect. It's sometimes the only way they know to deal with that situation, because it's like, this energy is too much for me. Don't know how to deal with it. So I'm going to back off because I don't want to be rude or nasty or shouty or, anything like that. Because if it's triggering them, what actually can they do? If it's triggering them and they don't feel equipped to support,
Right.
then I suppose it's respecting that as well. And that sometimes is like, when that was me on that end and people that I thought was like, an expectation should have supported me and they didn't,
Yep.
I was like seriously hurt and seriously like, but then I've looked at it in a different perspective when I'm watching it go on with someone else that I'm not involved in. And I guess I've got to see sometimes it's not a choice for them.
Yeah.
I guess I've got to see that.
I
Yeah.
I see that. I
It's
see that.
just like that's not, they're not able to do that. And so being around that is too triggering, and that could create confrontation. And they also don't want confrontation. And so their way to deal with that is fight or flight and to flight. And it's also maybe giving that forgiveness too.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even especially to yourself is you're the one that might be
Yeah.
tipping that ship over for a second, you know.
Mhm.
I always now in the space say, hey, I'm having something come up. Do you have space for this?
Yeah.
Ask them if they have the space for it and the time, and I'm not expecting anything, if they don't. I have other
Hmm.
people that I can talk to. But if it's something where it's really intense and it's something that could be brought up, then I test the waters first and foremost.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Because for one, like I've done that with so many people where I'm like, "Hey, this is something coming up. Will you be willing to talk to me about it? Like, let's have a chat about it." And I realize this is on the table, and I really respect our friendship and what we're doing here. And I myself am a little confused about what's happening. So, can I ask for some clarity? And people have gotten pretty scared about that type of confrontation, even if it's
Yeah.
it's even if it's soft and it's like, "Hey, I really just want to have a chat about this. I don't know." And so I've been like shut down quite a few times when I'm like, hey, this is what's up. And, I really would love to have a talk about it. And, for my own clarity, because I care about it. And then I just go, okay, look, they are open and ready to be able to receive that and make that shift. Okay. So then I'll respectfully say, hey, look, this is something that's coming up for me. Like when you're ready to talk about it, I would love to do that. For right now, there's a space here that might not be working for me, and I want to get myself in alignment.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely had to do that in different words, but 1,000,000% that's what I went through myself. And I must say it was more difficult for me. I found it quite emotionally challenging, but that was also working through my expectations on people
Sure.
and like my expectations of who I and what I thought they should bring, if that makes sense. And so
Totally.
I had to really work through that and drop that shit and know that those that are willing and present to step up will, and those that can't won't. And that's, you can't judge for that, and you can't have anger for that. And I did have resentment for that. I'm not gonna lie, I 100,000,000% did, and I had
Yeah,
to work
totally.
through that deeply. Yeah, I had to
Totally.
work through that. But I feel like I am someone where if there has been that gap in space, and I have tried to address it, and it's not been addressed, and then there is like a wanting to reconnect, but then without addressing it, like I can't do that. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yep,
still like,
I cannot.
yeah, I'm like, you know. But
Yep.
what I had to learn lately was patience,
Yeah.
because I knew that upon reconnection with a person, I knew there'd be, I was itching for communication because the areas in me is like, let me know the answers, let me speak, let me get it out. And I had to really sit for a couple of times of being around the energies and just get safe again in the energies. And that
Totally.
was really important.
Totally.
And that's what I kept getting like,
That is
stop trying to rush it, stop trying to control it. It will come in its natural time. And I
right.
got told that as well by, friends and stuff. And then it did just came in its natural time like it does, and it was needed, and cleared a lot, and I'm able to move so forward because I'm able to see perspectives and work it and piece it together and heal from that. And it's
Totally.
like, but if I don't get that, I can't do that whole, I need acknowledgement. And I know that sounds maybe ego, but I have to own it because for me, I need to have acknowledgement for
Totally.
both perspectives. Like I'll acknowledge yours, I will validate it and hear it and acknowledge it, but I need
Totally.
to also be acknowledged,
Step in.
and it's such a huge part for me. And if I don't have that basic accountability for your own actions and behaviors, and even, I'm not saying there was intention, but there is consequence to even unintended actions. And when them consequences have occurred and someone's expressing that to you, or you're trying to express that to someone, that is very valid. And I think every healthy communicating person, especially those that claim to be spiritually awakened, should hold space for taking accountability for their own stuff, and also hold space for themselves to ask others to take accountability in their own lives for their own actions and behaviors, and not just justify people's behaviors and actions out of their potential
Sure.
rather than who they actually are showing up as.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to express that. I think
Mm.
taking accountability is so huge in these spaces, and
Huge.
I will be first to do that if something comes up. I'm
Yeah,
like,
me
no, that
too.
was my fuck up.
Yeah, I'm like, oh shit, man, that was me. Like,
I'm a
all day.
mess.
And do you know what really hurts me when someone's like telling me something that I had no idea that my actions would cause that like consequence, for example, like, can't think of an example, but you know what I mean. And it has been really hard for me when someone's brought that back on me, and I've had to take that reflection. Someone once said I were really intimidating, and I was like, the fuck, like, because I'm like, what? I'm so, I try and be like so kind and lovely and like gentle and nice, but I am a very powerful person, and I suppose I'd not taken that into account when I am a little bit loud, a little bit fiery, a little bit, here, there, and everywhere. And I never once thought I could come across intimidating. But when she gave me that reflective, I was like, oh shit, like, damn. And I had to like sit with it a little bit, like, where is that coming from? And is that just their interpretation of me? Or
Sure.
is that genuinely like something that maybe I need to look at? And I think, again, accountability is key in them situations.
Accountability is definitely key. I mean, I've been called all the things, girls. I
You
mean,
know? You
I've
know?
been I've been perceived as so much intimidating. I mean, all the things, and
Wild though, it's wild to me.
had to
Wild.
I've had to just sit with that in my own reflection and how I emanate my own energy. which is going to bring up so many different inflections. Like I will be the first to note that you're never going to pin me down in any given situation. Like, this is not going to happen. You're never going to think that's what it is, and that's what it actually is with me. That's just how my energy inflects itself, and I've really owned that because at first I was like, why am I like that? I don't know. How could you perceive that? I was like, I guess I can see how that is, but I'm so different
Yeah.
moment second. I'm always inflecting so many different things because I'm a blank canvas per day, and I like to perceive myself that way. So I'm constantly creating. That I say, hey, thanks. I actually appreciate your perspective on that and what that brings up. I can see how that is. I can see that.
Mhm.
I can see how that is from that way. And then I always look at myself and go, hey, am I full alignment here? Am I inflecting, perceiving, or am I being something that could create someone to have a perspective or in a hurtful way or anything like that? Uh, if that's not the case, then I gratefully say thank you and I'll own my perspective of how I'm being perceived.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's times where you just gotta say, that's bullshit. You know, it's not true. You
There's
know, and
plenty
you
of
have
times
to,
where I do that.
yeah,
I'm like, yeah,
yeah, 100%. We've both been called a cult leader many times. So, and I can tell you, that's fucking bullshit. But, we just ride the wave. Like, I'd love to know where this cult is of mine. Maybe I'll find them one day on my little gallivant in the woods walking the dogs. But,
I'm like,
you
you
know,
must know so much more about me. I mean, are they in the water possibly? Because I like water,
yeah. Let me know when you find them. Let me know where I'm at. But no, it is a wild journey. And I suppose it's like, we have to surrender to just experiencing life. I was listening to a song earlier, don't know where it was now, but it were all the vibe that I was getting is this time is so limited. I was actually thinking because my dad's got OCD, and I was thinking how hard it must be to live a lifetime confined by that energy, like and feeling so controlled by it in some ways. I was really reflecting on that. My brother's got it too, and I was thinking I'm so grateful that I did not carry on that program
Oh,
because
my dad
man, I'm
too.
screwing in my house right now with my Jesus, I'd be having a meltdown. Well, I do even then I ain't got that bad OCD. But yeah, anyways, the point was I was thinking like we do really have a short experience in a human form. And yet when you're here it feels like such like oh everything's such a big deal. It's such oh my god, like such a big stress and overwhelm and all these emotions. And I just kind of sat there for a minute and had that zoomed out moment that we get sometimes. And I was just like, wow, this is really such a fleeting moment in the existence of time and in the existence of our creation and being. And why live bound by fear in any way, like especially in the ways that control us? Like, yeah, we're always going to have a survival instinct and a normal thing of life, maybe a little bit of anxiety in there, a little sprinkle on top, but it, it's not. I don't think it's not right to live in the fear that we've been conditioned to live in.
Right.
And there's so many people I know that are so terrified of their own health and like pregnancy and birth and like not even thought about it because they're just not allowed any power and terrified that the children are going to get sick and never knowing their own intuition and their own
Right.
inner self and inner voice. And it's like never knowing the power of that voice. And yeah, I feel the surrender is needed over this next chapter. Surrendering to experiencing and observing and learning and growing from learning from other people's experiences. Because if we can gain expansion from other people's experiences or like more, then we're able to integrate and expand more than just us experiencing it, if that makes sense.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that surrender has been so key, I feel like, moving through these spaces where, especially when my nervous system is like, bitch, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm like,
literally.
we're just gonna surrender to that feeling because obviously, it's there for a reason, and I'm always interacting with my body in a way when it gets to that point. My body at one point was like, I'm holding you back, soul. I just know it. I know that I'm making this progression so much slower.
Oh God, I feel like that too sometimes. I feel like my soul is looking at my body like, you could really hurry this shit up a bit. Like, what's going on down there?
It's me.
You all good down there? You need some help?
We're like running around back and forth. It's like, yeah,
No,
so
but like actually, I do that though. Like trying to get ready in the morning and just get the kids out of the house and the bags, and I'm like, find myself walking around, no aimless, just completely aimlessly, and I look at myself and I feel my higher self looking at me like, "Are you all right? Like, you all good?" And I'm like, "You don't get this human shit," and I'm literally talking to myself like, "If only you knew what it was like to be squished into this little confined little human flesh body and have to deal with all these." Things that come in and out, and have to find a way to go, and then deal with the whole 30, in my case, 28 years of reprogramming from this lifetime alone, and then all the cycles and the past lives and the aspects and the programs and the brain, everything that we've all experienced, then all the
as
toxins.
soon as you
And
hit
then,
that one, you're like, oh yeah, I got that program done. And then you got five from other incarnations. You're like, bitch.
like, no more, no more. It really is. And then there's never a break. It's always like, there, have your little break and then do 10 at one time. Like, you know,
One
oh,
time
God.
I'm cruising right now in the calm, and then it's like, oh wow, that was
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much more memory coming in.
Right,
And look what
right.
I did there. That was great. I'm glad that I have that memory now. What is that supposed to help?
Literally, literally. And it is, again, surrendering, though, that's key with that, because as much as I was kicking off at my higher self the other day, like, you don't know, because she don't know, she don't
You,
know.
I will
You
tell you
don't know,
something.
girl. You don't know, girl. That's what I was saying. I was like, you don't know. Stop looking at me like that. I felt like giving her a whole side eye, like, damn. But I had to sit there and she was laughing, but then she also sent me like some vibes of just chill the fuck out. Like it's not as overwhelming as it feels in that moment, but man, the human experience
The
is
human
just
experience. Yeah.
mm,
It's one of those I want to say with the soul and the physical human consciousness that it's this infusion process that we have coming into the space and this human consciousness which it has all of its own personality, its identity that it has been, all the programming that it's shifting, and then you have the soul coming in to infuse with it, which is a whole nother perspective. And sometimes, like honestly, my body has been like, you are a parasite. Can I have to, please, that is too much light. I cannot do it. I'm telling you.
I am giving away my consent. No more consent.
Access denied. Okay.
Yeah. I've actually done that though. I've actually said, listen, not right now. You'll have to come back at a different fucking time because I am not able to deal with this shit right now. And sometimes they do because it's true. Like, I don't think they, when I say they, was explaining this the other day, my version of they is
Yeah.
like my spirit team. So I think everyone has a spirit team. I'm sure I've mentioned this many times, but your spirit guides, your angels, your spirit animals, your loved ones, your
Yep.
ETs, your
Yep.
oversoul, your higher self, like all the beings and things that make up your spirit team. And every human, every being has a spirit team. So whatever you want to call it, I just call it team because it's like a team up there. And when I say they, I'm always referring to like someone on that team like overseeing this fuckery, but they don't understand the intensification of being human if they're not in it. And especially a lot of them have never even been fucking human, so they also don't get that either. And
Yep.
they can
Exactly.
send stuff down, or like you've chose to do this, and then like, oh, this is a great opportunity, learn that, and then no, like sometimes I'm like, no, because there's a line, I'm like, give me a day or something, like, no, I'm not saying you can avoid it. You have to go through it. If you've signed up for it, you're going through it. But
Yep.
I
Yep.
do think there is a choice. Like, my main example is I was 17, 18 when I started reading and training. And I think I was about 19, 20 when I first got told that there was a child soul waiting to come in. And I was like, listen, not to fucking date. I was in I was in hospital on 26 tablets a day, fighting a stomach problem, fighting mental health. I was like, listen, no, 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 no. And I said, you better be pitted boppity, back the fuck up and go up there and wait till it's your right time, until my energy is more aligned. And then I was 26 when I got the message before I got pregnant in Morocco that there was a child, the same soul, obviously, that was asking like, "Is it time yet?" And I was like, "Well,
Okay.
it's a lot better timing now than it was." So we had a whole conversation. But I think that's showing how it is a bit like a board game or a video game, whatever you want to look at it. And
Yep.
you do have more choice as a human than you think. Like, we're not just powerless. And again, that's maybe why I have contention with religion, because I believe you have far more influence and control on your experience than someone else dictating to it, in my personal opinion. And when you're living this, you can get presented, especially when you're in tune and you're around people that are in tune, because you get presented with choice and options. And one of my friends recently been through it. She's been presented with the choice of another child, and all three of her children are grown up. And she's not aligned. She doesn't want to go down that pathway, but the choice has been brought to her. And I think it's interesting how many more people are having that happen, not just for children, with jobs, life, career, moving away, whatever, because it's like we are now more consciously connected, that we can actually choose how we want to integrate those lessons and when. And that is a little bit easier on the body, because you can have a say
Oh,
more
totally. Yeah, yeah.
in how you do
This
that.
this is your body's full sovereignty right now.
Mm,
And that's how I perceive it in my perspective. Obviously, everybody else can have a different view, but that's why I give my body that much power
yeah,
to have it sovereign aspect. And it's like, and you say like your team, I'm like, excuse me, concierge, where are you at right now? Oh,
literally.
no, director, this is bullshit.
For
Excuse
sure, for
me.
sure. You know,
Not playing this game. Okay,
not at all.
50 doodle out of that one. Thanks.
Literally, literally. And it's like, I always think it's so simple, because the way my brain understands it, it is simple. But then actually, when you say it out loud, I suppose it is a bit confusing, because you've got all this like world, it's a whole world, and I forget that people are always in this world, and they have no fucking clue what I'm talking about sometimes. And I'm like, going away with my little self. I'm like, oh shit, people actually don't know this information right now. Obviously, a lot of people do, and hopefully, those that are watching this video, you guys know what we're talking about, hopefully. But it is a sense of like, you've got your spirit team and your oversoul and your higher self and your past lives and all your aspects and stuff. And then you've got your mind, body, and soul. And obviously, soul's connected to that oversouls and aspects. But the mind, the consciousness, the programs, the brain, and the body itself are completely different aspects. And then the nervous system, that's a whole entity of itself. And then, protecting your energy and influences and out external influences of frequency. And oh my world, there is so much of to understand or understand to gain alignment. And so please, anyone that is watching this that feels a bit deflated, feels a bit like, oh, I'm not where everyone else is or whatever, because I've been through that, just remember that we've never got this far. We've never, ever, ever got this far in a human incarnation.
No.
Ever. Like, I actually forget sometimes we are legit making history. And this will be a time that will be looked back upon as the breaking out, the breaking free, the awakening, the reprogramming, the unshackling of humanity.
Right.
And this is such a powerful thing to be a part of. And so don't ever doubt yourselves when you're feeling a little bit behind or a bit stuck or a bit inhuman. We're navigating stuff we have never, ever got to this level of capacity, not even close. And so this shit's going to be weird. It's going to be hard. It's going to be unknown. It's going to be unfamiliar. We're not going to know what we're doing. We're all going to fumble in the dark a little bit, because we are pioneers in bringing through this frequency into a human body, and not just that, bringing the human body up to a frequency that can actually withhold that energy. Like, this shit is wild. And so the fact that we're
Babies
having
right
this
now.
conversation, right? You know?
Yeah, it is. The little bodies are like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a
Yeah.
sec. It is like one of those fully immersive processes right now. You're like, I did not see that. I don't know what that. Oh, look how many. I mean, there is so many layers to this, everybody.
Mm.
And what I can say too is like, you're exactly right where you're at, where you need to be. If you're watching this, this is sparking some things for you. Question yourself. Get in tune with yourself. And the thing is, like, in this one particular lifetime, this is where I've come to. Like, I'm not gonna learn and know all the things, just not. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. I don't
Mm.
need to. I don't, in fact, I don't want to know all the things. Like, I feel like I know enough. I feel like
Yeah.
some, way too
I
much.
don't need it. Okay. Yeah.
I don't need any
Well,
more of
all of
that.
us.
Director,
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Exactly. And we'll always be continuously learning. It's just a case of like we're never gonna get to the ascended master level in human, like, because what's the point? That's not what it means to be human. You're already doing that
You are
outside of your
so
human
very
body. So why are we aiming to do that in a human body? That's not what we came to be human for. We came to be raw and real and mud in the mud with your bare feet and in the rain and feeling all the waves of the ups and downs and the passion and the fire and the joy and the pain, because that's what we came to be as a human. And so the
good.
fact that the spiritual community does resist the realness and authenticity of being human fucking baffles me because it's like, this is what we're here to do,
Let's
like
just
why are we all
pull
pretending to
that
be
on pull
a
that on the
little
table.
guru,
I'm just
right?
I'm just wondering why does this feel a little surface level? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and I will talk about that all day, and that is no offense to anybody's perspective, and
No, it's no one direct, it's just the general
it's just
community of
like
spirituality.
and this is my perspective in it because I don't fly in those communities at all. This doesn't work for me. The realness is for me how I connect to my soul, how I connect to this world, the rawness, the mess, the deepness, the roller coasters, the I'm flat on my face for 5 days for a second. The like
Literally.
the oh my gosh, my tarantula just came out of her cave to say hi, excitement that I got going on there. That aspect of the authenticity on the table is what I want in my creative process and how I want to move forward with people. And that's like, me out in my bigness, me in like my colorfulness, me in like my oddness, everything weird about me on the table, how my body wants to be perceived in its space, like because of what it has done. Like, no, it doesn't want to shave its legs. Okay, so thanks. I'm gonna I'm gonna flood that because the body is in power here, right?
Right, right.
They're the ones that are working this process, and they know that now. So they
Yeah,
know that they can pause, they can slow down, they can do whatever they want in the space, but that is because they can get to the real rawness of them that is their authenticity.
yeah, 100%. And it really is like finding that voice of your own. If you find your own voice and you really allow it to just be there, don't have shame for it, don't hide it, don't be embarrassed about it, don't fear about it. There's going to be layers, always layers, but truly just surrendering and allowing, like, what is the worst thing that could happen if you just let yourself be you? People won't like you. Well, fuck them, they weren't meant to be around you then, will they? Because if they
Exactly.
can't handle the real you, then maybe you weren't meant to be in their space. And so
Exactly.
you're only going to find out the truth anyways by being in your truth. You're going
That's
to find
it.
truth. Might
Yep.
be painful, might be a bit shit sometimes, but in the long run, you're going to create more meaningful experiences in life because you're going to have deeper than surface level experiences. You're not going to be having subconscious thoughts of fear and lack of trust and
Totally.
concern because you
Totally.
can't be your authentic self. The more real you can be with someone, the more deeper that connection is. So just try it out for size, try being you. I understand that sometimes in a work environment, a school environment, whatever, there is always hats, I call them, that we wear, but make sure that there's a little that you're the one wearing the hat, not that it's a whole nother morph suit that you wear, like it's
Totally.
you with the hat on. And that's just like a behavior skill, like appropriate behavioral things, if you're in certain human environments where that's got to be a thing. I understand we live in the human world, but there still can be an aspect of you.
Oh,
you
totally.
know
Totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And whatever that. Now, my colorful gangster hat is because I like to be straight up gangster.
I've been looking at your little records all day and I've been
I
thinking,
know,
yeah,
I just
I'll put
it's
your records
because I like
on.
my
You know,
fly hats.
do it.
My little kid, and my
I
master
love it.
absolutely loves
I
putting
love
those
that.
on, and that's the natural authenticity piece. And I give you all permission to give yourself permission to do not to be yourself, to get out there, to be uncomfortable with it. And I walk that line every single day where I'm out and about. I'm like, yeah, that's uncomfortable because it's me. I wanna bust that out. The more I'm uncomfortable, the more that I reveal more about myself, the more that I embody.
Mhm.
I'm not going anywhere to do it. The more I'm
Yeah, yeah,
coming into my body, I'm getting more and more unique and more authentic, and more soul remembrance is coming through. And my connections now, even though I don't have a ton of them, but the connections that I do have are very deep. I would
yeah.
love
That's me.
anywhere. They're constant.
Yeah. They're all over the world, but those that I do have, there's like five. There's like five of them. But those, I'm like, yep, you're over there in that country. You're over there. You're down the road. Lovely, happy days, And it really is that. And I literally have, like, other than my close family, maybe two, three people that I'm connected to, and I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that because them connections I know are so there for me, and I am there for them in whatever ways we can show up for each other, and
Absolutely.
bound, it's unbound by human bullshit, and it's not surface. It's not breakable by the human life. I keep disappearing me. I'm like,
I'm
going
just
into the
sitting here
abyss.
observing this. I'm like,
I'm like, she's gonna
I-
disappear. But no, it's like, yeah. I think today's session has been more like 7 minute session. That's video. You know what I mean? I think it's been more like real, and I think that's the
Yep,
point. We need to get
real
real,
talk.
and
Yep.
we love our realness. And I was thinking about the retreat we're going to run next year,
Yeah.
and how every retreat I done, I really do pride, and that's why I'm going back to the point earlier. People finding me intimidating. I also got called posh. Sorry, that was one for me. Not an insult, just I was like, on what planet do you look at me and see me as posh? Like I was shook. I was like kind of impressed with the comment. I was like, all right, I'll take it. We'll take that. God, if you knew what little town in Yorkshire I was from, I don't think you'd be calling me posh. But we'll roll with it. We'll go with it. But it is like the. I'm shocked because I show up as just me, and so when people interpret that as not me, I'm like, yo, what? But I guess
Yep.
that's
Yep.
people's interpretations. But the reason why I get shocked is because I really do show up as like, this is my energy, and I'm just showing up as me in my vibe. And when I run a retreat, again, it's the same. And this time, we've all been going through this. So me and Z have been talking about it a lot, and we have been deeply feeling these vibes of nervous system regulation, the layers to
Yep.
go through it. But
Yep.
not only that, I also got the first idea for the Mind Body Soul retreat was in 2020, and I didn't run it till 2023.
Yep.
Now in 2021, I got the idea for like a wild woman reclamation, but now I understand it's more about the sacral chakra, what we've all been working through, the masculine and feminine. So it's not just limited to women. I just interpreted it that way, as I do as a woman. But it feels like it's an embodiment of this energy. And the point of it was, even when we're hosting the retreats or doing these workshops or anything online, we're still going through it too. And that's what I think people forget in like the spiritual community. There's a lot of, I feel, perception that the people that are facilitating it are like healed and fixed and have know what to do. Whereas every time I'm guiding someone through something, I gain things from it. I gain little nuggets and insights because I'm asking the questions, and then I get answers for me too. And so when you work in the energy realms, you realize it's multidimensional. You can just do like 10 things at once. It's great for my ADHD brain. I'm like,
That's how I
but,
be here, really.
right, literally.
My
But yeah,
ADHD brain could not handle it if I did not
no,
have that multidimensionality right.
no, it gives us the outlet that we need. And it's like finding that authenticity helps you anchor in the fact we're all going through it at the same time. We're
Exactly.
all experiencing this, maybe at different timelines and different layers and different
Totally.
depths, and
Totally.
that's
Years,
cool.
years.
But when we're facilitating this for you guys, I know that I've been going through it all these past few months, just like you have, Z,
Yep.
and past few years, really. But basically what I'm saying is it's preparation
My
so
whole
that when we're
lifetime here.
yeah, whole lifetime. But it's preparation to be able to facilitate for anyone else. You have to be embodied. I don't think you can embody this stuff if you haven't, in some way, in some lifetime, experienced it. And so
Right.
this is the authenticity piece coming through. I think if you are going to hold space for anyone else, I think it's being authentic in why, like, what brings you to doing that, what's calling you to doing that, and
Yeah.
not being afraid to share your story, because I was quite afraid to share my story when I came into this journey. So own your journey, own your awakening, own your path, because it's yours.
And totally. And just bringing it to the space of that, when we do this retreat, it's we're gonna walk alongside with you. I'm gonna come up in all my imperfections as myself. And guess what? I might have something big come up while I'm working with you guys. And I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
be there with you, being like, oh, I'm gonna ride this roller coaster.
literally
You
literally, but
know?
that's the good thing. We'll tell you, we'll be like, we're right there with you.
Yep, I'm feeling this. Yeah, yeah, I will never run something where that's going to be the case where, all of us aren't equals working this process
Mm,
because we are,
yeah,
regardless,
it's very important. Very
uh,
important to
and
have that physical.
totally too. And at the end of the day too, like we might go there and someone else might pop up to do a facilitation for us. That's what I'm excited about too. Like you
That's what
never
happened,
know
right?
what's
It
gonna
literally
happen.
happened in Spain when I ran the Mind Body Soul retreat. This beautiful woman, Lucy, never met any of us before, watched like 5 minutes of my YouTube video and booked on it. I was like, that is wonderful. She's hilarious. And didn't know any of us and came. And she was amazing. She's a somatic trauma releasing and like
Love it.
it was all massage, and she literally gave half as a massage. It was wonderful. I was heavily pregnant, so I was definitely needing that. It was lovely, but she came and brought so much light, just like everyone did, and I learned so much from everyone on, and especially again at the New Earth Gathering, the last one we ran, and actually Lucy that came and facilitated on in that was a guest that facilitated. She's going to be doing a little bit of body movement work for us as well on the next retreat next year. We don't have any like logistical things confirmed yet because we're still finding the appropriate venues and dates, but it will be in July of next year. We are looking at Spain as a location. And yeah, it's going to be
Excited for that.
activating, I think is a really good word. Like, I don't run Chill Vibes Retreat. We have Chill Vibes there,
We're gonna have
but we
children.
do the work. We do the work, and you know that when you're there, Z, as well, it's gonna be doing the
I'm
work,
like, yeah, there's not, you're not gonna not be doing the work there. We'll say
but
that.
not in like a physical.
Exactly.
You don't want to. You're not gonna feel like, oh, I'm gonna be absolutely drained, tired. Like, no, we're not saying that. It's like you have come for an opportunity to be guided to where you can go, and like more than you can maybe do sat at home, not necessarily knowing the right skills, equipment, time, energy, confidence, all them things. Like, you have the perfect surroundings to be able to dive deep and then resurface, and we can hold you space
That's
for
what
you
I'm
to go
there.
through
Like,
that journey.
what I will say with that is we will hold the container for you to go as deep as possible that you as you want to go into
Mm.
really embodying yourself and shifting what you want to shift. And there'll be plenty of time and space for you to rest and retreat and connect and communicate and just know that you guys are going to be safely guided through that process and come out the other side something completely uniquely more yourself.
100%, 100%. Yeah, transformed really. And it's an incorporation of work with the mind, body, soul, nervous system, sacral chakra, because the sacral chakra is all about the embodiment and the divine essence. And so that's why this is such a huge aspect of this retreat. And shame has led that chakra for so long and made it disconnected
Totally,
from
totally.
the body. And that meant we were disconnected, not fully, but from that light, that passion, that fire that's within us. It's
And
being turned way down because of the shame and the guilt and the suppression that's been placed upon us as a society, as a woman, as a man, as a whatever.
all the things.
And yeah, check back the past 10 videos that we've been doing. You'll find out.
Like it's
You know,
everything.
everything is gonna, but yeah, it's going to be a whole unraveling. We're going to be doing some somatic work, some trauma releasing, some energy work, some soul energy retrieval and cord cutting and all that magical stuff. We're going to be doing some dance and workshops with the body and the throat chakra to actually be opening up and embodying presence in the body. So there's going to be a lot of different tools as well that you can take with you and continue to do the work basically, so you don't just have to come and then again, I'm not about giving you power away, neither nobody is that anyone we work with, so it's about flipping it back to you and seeing how you can take this experience and how you can empower yourself to
Exactly.
embody that and continue that, and spread the light where you go. So yeah, we'll keep letting on more details when we do have them, but if everybody wants to kind of know that the preliminary dates are in July next year in Spain, and I am thinking either the first, second, third week, that them first few weeks in July before the English school holidays. So
Yep.
it should be exciting and activating and
I'm excited.
integrating.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So a wholeness process, I want to say. Cool.
Yeah, I really agree because it is about the masculine too. That's why
That is
I have had to do this whole process myself before facilitating. When the
totally.
idea came in, I seen it as like a wild woman retreat, but it's so shifted from that concept is there, but it's not just like wild women. It's about the wild within us, and I think that's the difference I've learned. It's the divine masculine, the divine feminine, men, women, all different aspects of what that looks like. And the way I were interpreting it is through my interpretation, when there is so many ways to interpret that, and I've had to
Totally.
experience that, and I've had to surrender to observing to experience that, to learn a deeper sense of integration. So
Yep, yep. You
yeah.
and I have both been on that path with the nervous system, and I'm creating a program
Mm.
for the nervous system to just get it
I'm
kind of.
excited for that. I'll be
I'm
front row
really
center.
excited about it. Yeah, now it's coming out here soon with a new platform, so I'm excited for that. And also, to everybody, we would not be putting this out there unless we had experienced it ourselves, and I know that for both
Right.
of us. Unless we had like fully dove into every aspect, I can say that for myself. Like I put all those experiences in my reality, so I can viscerally go into this and come out the other side and know that everybody else has that opportunity to do it too.
Yeah.
Is where I'm standing with this. So.
100%. Everyone has a gift, a skill, a power, and whatever word you want to humanize it. Neither me or Z are gifted in terms of, well, we are, but not gifted to anybody else. Like there's no hierarchy. That's the point. Everyone has a
Yeah.
skill and a capability and a gift, whatever you want to call it. But it's about honing in on that, listening to it, experience it. We've just spent a long time training that muscles and them skills and
Yep.
them,
Yep.
you know, abilities to be able to connect so easily. And it's not that that's any better than anyone else. It's just like someone that spent more time learning how to ride a bike than someone else. Like they've got more skills than the other person, but it's
Totally.
not that that person is not capable. You
Nope.
know, maybe a bike's not a good example, but you get what I'm saying.
There's plenty of things that I don't have the skill set for. We're gonna say
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have to say that what I chose to come down for in this incarnation and in many incarnations was to really get this skill honed, this
Mm-hmm.
particular set of connection.
Totally
And
agree.
do I still sometimes I'm like, yeah, that whole like musician vibe, I would have really liked that. I could have just been a school teacher, would have been key. I wouldn't have been fighting freaking demons for years. It's
Right,
like
right. I actually think that, Z, because like obviously I'm a singer and I'm really quite a good singer. So I'm like, why didn't we just go through the musical route? Like,
yeah,
come
yeah,
on now,
yeah.
really? But
That's me
I
too.
just don't think I'd have been satisfied. And I think that's,
Not
there were always something, 15, 16. I literally remember saying to my mum, like, Mum, I think I'm here for something more. Like, I don't think I'm here to get a job and go to work and then
Yep,
die.
yep,
Like, I don't see that as why
yep.
I'm here. And she just looked at me like, the fuck are you 15-year-old over here going,
That's
I
funny.
came to this earth for something more. I came to do a bigger purpose.
Funny was when I came out. Like when I pretty much started talking, which I know I was super young. I was so clear with my mom. I was like, I am not going to be having kids in this. I'm not going to create more karma. I'm not going to be going the traditional route here. And she would be like, "Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
right.
What are you like, 90-year old? You're 90 years old. Your body like."
I love that though. I love how we knew his own little souls, but it really was like a deep knowing for me. I am not here to live a normal life. And I have to remind myself of that sometimes because part of me craves it. Part of me craves like peace and normalcy. And then I look around and I think, "Girl, you know that that's not what you signed up to do." Like, don't get me wrong, we can experience calm,
I'll
but I
get
was
that.
here to learn and adventure and
Yeah,
grow.
no, totally.
Wild in the
Totally.
wind, off I go, and
Yeah.
that's how I'll always be.
That's been our paths. That's been like what we came specifically for. And I'll get that reminder all the time because I tell you what, I've had this remembrance ever since I was little, and it's just increased itself. And then like so has the skills, and then as that's increased, more remembrance and more working with these places has, and it's been, that alone was a lot to carry for me, especially with a lot of
Mm-hmm.
other. I couldn't really relate with a lot of people. But
100%. Well,
yeah.
I still don't know, like, just before we finish up, because I know we're going over a bit, but we were been going to a lot of social events lately for friends' weddings, like Indian weddings, so they do like quite a lot of different celebrations. And my partner was like, "Can you try be more social?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" Because I really struggle. Like, if I don't, it's really hard for me. It's like, well, what do you want me to talk about? I talk about the quantum sciences of the universe
Exactly.
and why are we are here. So what do you want me to sit across the table and say? So me, I just say, hi. Like, I don't know what you want. I can't do the small talk. Like, I just can't
That's
do it. I don't
that's
know how to
exactly
do
what
it.
I'm
I
like
feel like
too. Yeah.
my brain just doesn't do that. Like, he's not functional. And so I look at him and I'm like, oh, God, get anxiety. I don't know what to say because like you say, I
Yeah.
just don't feel like I fit in. And I
Yeah.
tried to explain it to him in the best way I could. I was like, because he obviously gets me, and I was like, like
Yeah.
not everyone gets me, and so if they don't get me, I just don't. And this sounds really bad, but I just don't see the point in putting so much energy continuously into so many people
Right.
when I know like my depth. I like to go
That's
not just deep and
yep.
rando stuff, but I'm a very emotionally deep person too, and I like to
Yep.
connect on an emotionally deep level.
Yep.
And if I don't feel that connection with someone, I'm not saying instantly, but if I don't feel that vibrational alignment, I don't know what to do about that, because it just feels like
There's
there's no
I
there.
know.
There's
Yeah,
no
yeah,
I'm
yep,
working with
yep. I
here.
don't have, my
Yeah.
body just doesn't inherently like have that space for it,
Mm-hmm.
I could be there for a period of time, to just, for a second. And
Tick a
sometimes I'll
box.
find
Yeah.
someone to like, sometimes I'll find someone to talk about a little bit,
Yeah.
talk about something. But for the most part, like my energy is very directed on what I'm here
Mm-hmm.
for. And even in a social setting, I know what my energy is doing to work the space, right? So it's like, okay, if I don't have that, I was thinking about this yesterday too. I was like, what I'm here directly to do is quantum space and change,
Yeah.
and to keep the disruptors going. So there's a continual outside of the box situation where people can experience it themselves, which would
Yeah.
be the pureness of their soul and joy. So to have like a communication point with somebody who is not open to those frequencies, it's a frequency thing. Like it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
not anything against them, it's just a
Right.
frequency thing. Then it's just kind of like
Yeah. What do you want me to do? And it's not about spirituality, because it really isn't. I don't need you to know jack
Yep,
shit about shit. We don't need to talk about spiritual stuff. We don't need to do anything like that. Like, it's simply is my energy aligned to your energy?
that's
Do
it.
we vibe?
See that?
Like,
Yep.
are we vibe? Do we like? Is there any form of spark connection? I don't mean romantic, or just energetically connected, like in any way, And I recognize when that happens. Like, I was at a social event a few years ago, and oh God, I really do get social anxiety though. Like, just when I'm not having that people, like you say, that same connection, I just feel a bit alone. And I was feeling like that. And then this girl walked in, never met her before, but her energy, I was like, who are you? And she felt the same about me. And she was like, who are you? And we're still friends to this day, like very good friends. And it was
That's
like,
how,
yeah,
yeah, I've
she
done
was a
that before.
good, she came on my last retreat in Spain, actually. She's a wild
Oh,
little woman.
I
She's
love that.
wonderful. But she was like, yeah, it just annoying, instantly annoying. And it doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes it's a bit of an interest, or we get talking about something and you get to connect with someone. But it really was with her, it was like an instant connection, like a look and a vibe of your energy is different to everyone else's in this room, and I can feel that, and
Yeah,
you can
that's
feel
that's the
mine.
alignment.
And
That's
it's just like a knowing.
That's annoying. Yeah, and it's pretty quick, I'd say now, where that
Mm-hmm.
is a space where I could be in. If it's not, then I don't. That's where we've gotten into space where it's been shame or guilt before, where it's like, oh, yeah, no, not anymore. Like it's alignment, or it's not alignment, and it's not in anything that's not loving or anything like that. But it's pretty quick when I know, oh, look, that's a direction. That's a direction of space. There's an open line for a connection, and communication point. It like
Mm-hmm.
happens with ease and flow. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to
so
force it.
naturally.
I'm not trying to I push myself into an uncomfortable place because it's not where I'm meant to
Exactly, exactly, because that's forced, and that's where we're going back to the authenticity piece. And
be.
if you own your shit, like I was that night in my own head, I knew I had mad anxiety, I knew I didn't feel comfortable or fitting in, but I knew the shift in my energy the second I felt someone connected to it was like, oh, this is nice, this is new, this is a remembrance. And so it was like a connection. And I think many, many, many times this will happen. It happened in Morocco, it happened in New Earth Gathering, it happened when I met you, all these times it's like a remembrance. There's because you do remember them. Like, it's not when you look at me, yeah, what's going on over
Yeah,
there?
no,
Interesting. Like, it's
it's a
because you
very
part of
deep,
your
yeah,
soul
it's a
knows.
deep
It's like,
part of the
go
knowing
over
process.
there. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
only is a deep part, it's such an interaction where you know how the other's personality is, like how they've been working through spaces. Like it's very much so, oh yeah, I know that you like that, so we're gonna
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
it's such a deep knowing, and I know that that's gonna be more and more so for me in
It
the
really is. It's going to
second
be
half.
more now. I think people, because more people step into their authenticity, the more people that can connect with that authenticity with each other. And then when they're not being fake, they're not being fake, then they can fully vibe. You know what I mean? So like everyone's going to went full. You know what I mean? But yeah, you get me. It's like everyone can be true in themselves. That's my inner masculine. I just realised that's my inner. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, what was that? But yeah, that's my. Okay, I am nowhere.
We
But
got
yeah,
it.
so
We got it. Yeah,
we're
yeah,
there.
yeah. I'm
But no,
excited for it to come
me
to
too.
the way it is.
Good,
Everybody
good.
just kind of circle up with some golden nuggets. Be as true to yourself as you can and step outside of that and hold that as much as you can because all of these old programmings of us like feeling like we have to be alone or guilt or shame for being ourselves are shifting out of the space, and the more that we can be our truest selves, the more we're going to open up the space to deeper connective levels with each other. However that
True
rolls.
that.
Buddy. Bing!
True that. Yeah. And honouring yourself, honour it, honour whatever that is and whatever that looks like, and stand in your own truth without fear or aggression. Just honour it.
Yep, for sure. We love you
Right.
guys.
Peace and love.
Yeah, ask some questions if you want. We can dive in deeper and subscribe, and we'll be talking more about our event next year.
Yes,
You
yes.
guys.